Spoonie in the building. Your guy Nick's in the building. Had fun talking about some. My guy Geechee, my guy Matt Owen. Talk about this draft a little bit. We got a little Pitts versus Horn team on last night, having a good time with everybody. Shouts to the guy Norton that came through. It's Sunday. It's kickback time. Little kickback time. Have a little talk about this draft. A little bit of news kind of circulated out. We got a little bit of news, and just got to talk about maybe some of these things that are turning all the way into pens to the pencil now, as well as we are now officially 4 days away, guys. Finally, from the draft. Finally. 4 days away. But the one thing that did kind of come out and is circulating around a little bit today, what's going on, Holly? What's going on, Parker? How's everybody doing? Is Cowboys have a first round grade on a particular cornerback, J Tuck.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a guy near and dear to your heart.
As they should, man. As they should. Maybe these little nuggets I've been dropping throughout this draft season has finally climbed up to the big office, man. They're finally starting to see it my way. But yeah, I'm hearing a first round draft grade on Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State, which I've been kind of preaching for quite some time. And I think about it from this standpoint. If you look at the cornerbacks, right? We have Surtain, you have Horn, you have Farley with a huge question mark, you have Greg Newsome. Huge question mark. Asante Samuel is right next in line. So I feel like he could possibly lead Caleb Farley and Greg Newsome because, as you always say, Nick's availability is your best ability. And I feel like Asante Samuel Jr. has been available for the most part. He hasn't had too many injuries. And what I've been saying from the standpoint from, just kind of take it out my no bias, he's a corner that can do everything. He can play inside, he can play outside, he can tackle, he can play free safety, he can get turnovers. He has the lineage of a four-time Pro Bowler in Asante Samuel Jr. and his father as well. And so it's all there when you watch Asante Samuel Jr. The only true knock on him is his size. But is that really a deciding factor that you can say this kid doesn't deserve the same type of grade as some of these other guys that we've spoken about? And I don't think that's the case. I think Asante Samuel Jr.'s name should have been in the conversation a long time ago. And we're clearly seeing that here adding up, getting closer to the draft. So we'll see. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Spoonie, how you feeling about hearing about this now? We're getting some nuggets here before the draft, and Samuel on the what's going on there? Oh,
well, it's coming to our attention. Asante Samuel Jr. is saying, "Wait a minute,
right?
I'm part of the bloodlines too. Damn it, that's my daddy right there making plays. That's my daddy who got a Super Bowl ring,
right?
So all this talk about Horn's father, great receiver in my opinion, played for the state. McCarthy did coach him for I think it was about 10 years." Then we're talking about Surtain's father, Pro Bowl with the Miami Dolphins. Asante's like, wait a minute.
Right.
Is everybody forgetting who my daddy was? Right. My daddy was a problem in the NFC East. My daddy got a championship.
Right.
And guess what? I am nice. And I'm happy about that because we all talked about Asante Samuels a while back, but because of the Celeb Farley situation, we seen their Horn. And we see Surtain have been the most talked. Remember, in the past draft, the Dallas Cowboys always select a player that you rarely hear about. BJ pointed out a couple of weeks ago. And if it came out that the Dallas Cowboys have not had Asante Samuels Jr. in the first round grade, hey, maybe my wish has been if pitch is not available for the Cowboys, I want to trade back. I want to trade back and stack up. And if they're talking about Asante Samuels Jr. having a first round grade, hey, maybe we could double dip. Maybe we could get Asante Samuels and maybe JOK or Xavier Carlos or maybe Trayvon Murray from TCU. I like the idea.
Matt Owen says, "What if I told you Samuel has the swagger people like from Horn, ball hawk nature of Farley, and the pedigree of Surtain and Horn?"
Right. Exactly.
I like moving the chains with are you about to offer us pills, Matt Owen?
Yeah, go ahead and swallow the Asante Samuel Jr. pill. And like people won't listen to me because they know that I'm biased because I'm no-blooded. But that's why I'm glad to have people like Matt to kind of explain it. That's exactly what he brings to the table. Plus, tossing another layer to that pill, he could be free safety as much as we like Darius Washington. He could come in and play free safety as well and kind of give us that ball hawking ability in the backfield. So it's like I like Asante Samuel Jr. and I'm happy that he's mentioned. Now, with the Dallas Cowboys pull the trigger, we'll have to wait 4 days and see, man. But I'll be jumping on the table a lot more if we took Asante Samuel Jr. versus we took the first two that's been mentioned. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and of course, and you kind of started that, when we did a show with Space, you kind of dipped off real quick. You did a real quick rapid fire double dip, and you walked out with Surtain and Samuel in the double dip in the first 2 rounds, and then still was able to fill the draft out anyways with what we needed. So something to keep an eye on with that kind of creeping up here is an opportunity where the Cowboys might want to go ahead and double dip per se at corner. Nothing's out of the realm of possibility. We've talked about them with the trade up possibility, being aggressive from 44, maybe going up into the first round. Let's say they take Slater or they take Pitts, right? They don't take the cornerback at 10. Maybe now we're talking about more the safety, maybe a guy that go up for. Well, now maybe Samuel's a guy that go up for, right? It's another layer into this draft as we're getting closer and closer, right? But it's another layer now that we look at when we start talking about 44, what the options are they want to do, depending on how it affects what they do at 10. But what we do know for sure, the Cowboys are definitely cooking and doing their homework on these cornerbacks because they might be double dipping after all.
They're gonna have to, yeah. And just to my guy, Big Game James, we just had a show together, but it's like we're at that point where it's like, bro, we're gonna have to really bank on these these rookies to come in and have some impact defensively. Because I mean, if you go back to Stephen Jones, he's like, yeah, we know we got some work to do from the defense in this draft. Like, yeah, these guys that we're gonna be drafting here, day 1 and day 2 are really going to be expected to have some type of impact defensively because we sat in our hands so far throughout the draft. So yeah, a double dip might be that option, which I'll be for it.
Sam Torres with how late would y'all wait on safety? It has to be no later than the 3rd round, in my opinion, is where I would be. What about you, Spoon?
I agree. Same thing. No later than 3rd round.
Yeah.
Only if somebody like Andre Cisco's 4th, if he falls to the 4th, I'll be ecstatic. But I doubt he'll last that long if they wait.
I feel like any of the safety that might slide, it would probably be, our guy Washington be banging the table. But I don't see him falling past 99, to be honest with you, even with the size and the measurables. So you're gonna have to get him in that 3rd. We're gonna have to pull the trigger to have a safety that's gonna be of impact.
Right.
Hey, may I read a quote from Asante Samuel Jr.?
Go ahead.
Go ahead there.
All right.
Let me
and I quote. Man coverage is a dog mentality, he said. It's like you versus me, and you're not gonna win your rep against me because I am a dog. And I've been working hard all year for it. You're not gonna outwork me for the week. So I feel that the leads into the game. FSU really brought out the man coverage in me because we played a lot, especially last year. I felt that the scheme was really good and I was able to showcase my talent. I love the fact that man came out and said, you're not going to outwork me. And they brought out the dog in me. And let me tell you something. Tuck, Mendoza, if he's watching, you guys been preaching this for a minute. I'm a huge fan of the Cowboys trading back, and I mean it. If Pitts is not there, trade back and load up on these guys.
Yeah, here's and earlier in the process we talked about Samuel, right? We all say here we talked about him, and we're like, well, he's not 6 feet, so the Cowboys aren't going to take him, right? And that's just kind of how we've been. But now we hear this word that they're actually looking at him, which seems to be a little bit of a change, right? Perhaps with the scouting and this coaching staff now of getting off the gas of, hey, even if you're not 6 feet tall, we will take a look at you in the right circumstances. Hearing about now that Samuel is at a number 1 rated first round cornerback for the Cowboys. See, this one would disagree with you. I think you got to stick at 10 and pick. I think you got to get aggressive to come up and get these guys afterwards.
Right.
I'm not on the trade back. I'm like, look, and here's the 5, right? Here's your 5. It's Pitts, it's Surtain, it's Horn, it's Slater, it's Sewell. However you want to package that, however you want to rate that up and down, I think that's the power 5 and there for them at 10 and what's going to happen. But I think you stick there, you do take one of those power 5, and then the other side, either come back into the late first round, come up and end up with 2 second-round picks. Like, I think we have to get creative and get active that way to come really flesh out this defense.
Yeah, I agree, Nix. I feel like from this draft, we need 3 core guys defensively, right? And I feel like if we're able to maybe package the 3rd or 4th and move back into the 2nd and maybe keep 44, then we can pretty much get that if we draft right. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at. I'm not really a fan of team trade back. And like I said, unless a team is really fully available to give us an overhaul and really leverage their future to move up for one of these quarterbacks. But just for a few additional picks, especially in this year's draft, I just don't see it, man. I feel like the Cowboys just get their guy, however their board might be aligned. It's kind of funny that we saw some of these promo draft videos. We saw Pitts, we saw Horn, we saw Surtain, and kind of just cut off.
Right. Oh, that's all we're going to show you. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. But I feel like they should, go ahead, get their guy at 10, and then maybe be aggressive to move up in the second or in the late first to go get another guy as well. Because I feel like get 3 core guys and you'll be better. But I just don't feel like jumping back behind division rivals and letting a weapon fall to them. Right. I just don't see the value in it. So.
Yeah, and Bryan, and you hit the nail. Like, are you going? If someone's going to come leverage their future, then you always listen. I mean, those are facts. I mean, if Chicago is going to come level and say, "Hey, man, we're going to give you a first next year," you have to start thinking about those kinds of things at that point. But going from 10 to 15 for 15 and 46, and not nothing a little sweet for next year,
right?
I'm a little rough on that, right? Because I think you're going to move just out of the way that one of those Power 5 aren't going to be there anymore, no matter how many's sitting there. Because I don't think all 5 are going to be there at 10. So yeah, that's going to be interesting talk for sure there early on. In him, Bryan, with the question, guys, great talk so far. He goes, how far do you think Farley falls? I got Farley going somewhere between 16 and 25, I think. Maybe 15 and 25, but that's kind of where I think Farley. I don't think Farley's going to get much lower than 24, 25th, in my opinion. J Tuck, where do you? How far do you think Farley falls?
I would kind of be in range. I don't think Farley falls out of the top 20 on Thursday. Okay. I just think with that upside, the athleticism, even with the back issues, I feel like someone's going to take a flyer on him. And especially if Surtain and Horn kind of goes off the board, teams are going to have that conversation about Farley or my guy Asante Samuel Jr. And I feel like Farley might get the nod just based off his athleticism and upside potential. So I don't see Farley falling out of the top 20. Now, if he does, then that's when Jerry really needs to pick up that phone and say, all right, what's going on? Can we move up to possibly go get this kid? But that would kind of be some of a project that you can kind of sit on. But I don't see him sliding, man. I just think that the upside is just too much for a lot of these teams to pass on. They're going to like the athleticism.
Spoony, what do you think? Farley falling, or how far do you think Farley's going to fall?
Second round.
You're just trying to work that damn 40-foot magic. I know what you're doing.
Wow. Speak into existence, Spoon.
The Cowboys surgeons are the ones who did the surgery on Farley. As I said before, if you're not Jerry Jones or Bill Belichick, you're not going to risk drafting him because you're on a short leash. Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick can do whatever they want, and they'll take chances on a guy. Like the Cowboys surgeon did the surgery. Jerry Jones knows what's going on. Second round.
Right. All right. Okay. Well, we'll say a little hot.
Nelly hot shit.
Yeah, hot shit. Terry Johnson says, "What's up, fellas? What do y'all think the Cowboys' record would be?" It's too soon for me to pick. As the roster sits currently, 10 and 7, 9 and 8. I don't know. It's just way too early to really dig into that.
See draft. I gotta see the schedule. I gotta see, if we do anything in the free agency. So
Ravens offer 28-31, a third, and a 22 first. Do you take their offer? I mean, they're not coming up to 10 for anything,
right? But
let's throw it out there. I mean, that's 3 first. Even though obviously we're talking about late first, you can get busy on this defense though. 20-31. 44 third, you could get busy, but we'd have to pretty much guess that next year's first that we're getting from them is going to be 20 or on and later, all things dependent. I don't know. I don't know if I would do it. I'm gonna say no. I wouldn't do it. Spoony.
Oof. Matt, they call him the professor. No, you got to change that. That's the mad scientist right there. I am picking that deal. You're giving me 2 first-round picks, 28 and 31, and next
31's a glorified second-round pick.
Hey, listen, I can get me a JOK or a Collins, another corner or a safety, and I got my second-round pick, and I still got 2/3. I am doing it. Sign me up. Only if Pitts is not there. Only if we can't get Pitts. That's it.
Yeah,
Matt's
over there blowing some stuff up in the lab, man. But
Matt's got all kinds of pills today.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But that's an enticing offer because just like Spoon just said, man, you can get your two guys in the first round. You still have your 44th pick. You know what I'm saying? To actually move and maneuver, so you can get 3 core guys in there. Now, it really depends on how the board is moving, though. That's the hard part to kind of gauge because if you're sitting back. And let's say, the 2 corners are gone, Farley's gone. All right, let's say Joker's gone and Collins is gone. All right, now we're kind of getting a little bare, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it would have to be. I think I'm out on that trade, man. As enticing as it looks,
yeah,
I just don't see it, man, because I don't know what's going to be there at 28. We could be looking at second round grade guys. Taking them at 28, where we could have just probably waited and gotten them, later. I'm cool on it, man. I'm more in the thought process of taking those 2/3 and moving up back into the second. That's
yeah,
75 and 99, I believe. Yeah, taking those 2, packing those up, move up, get another second, and then we kind of sit tight from there.
See, and that's my thing. If we was aggressive to trade, and I like BJ's idea what he said earlier, trade back into the first round. Late, I would love to do that because all you have to give up is that 3rd round pick. But it's even. That's the problem. That's my issue. They won't. I don't see them moving back in. If they move back into the first round, everybody's going to be shocked.
Right.
Everyone will be shocked because normally they stay put or they trade back.
Yeah, again, fun times to be had. Again, I just don't. I'm going back to. The Ravens, I just don't see a reason why. I mean, let's say Chase was there at 10. Is that what their end goal is, to come up and get a wide receiver? I don't know. But I just don't see them. I just don't see enough there for them to come up and do anything to give them that kind of package. But it's hard to turn away when you look at that, especially with the kicker of the next first round. But for what we need that impact, and I just
right.
Yeah, I think.
If we were to handle our business in free agency, then maybe.
Well, yeah. Budda coming in saying, "Hey guys, if it comes down to Surtain and Horn, why not just move back and get Horn?" And now I'm hearing they have a first round grade on Asante. That's what we've been talking about a lot here, Budda, is what that means now that we're hearing about them. Kind of breaking tradition as it's been about these bigger corners and having Asante rated as a first round cornerback. What does that mean for them in trade up scenarios, maybe from the second round back into the first? If he's there at 44, what do you do? Do you double dip if you stick it in and take one of these corners? Do you double dip? So definitely opens up some options, Budda, that we've been talking about so far as it pertains to this quarterback situation. Now, with that being said, though,
he's only like 5. He's 5'10". You put cleats on him, you can probably get 6 footage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
get little steppers in there, get him up a little bit.
That's my thing, y'all. Think about it. How apart is Asante Samuel Jr. from Surtain and Horn?
Right.
That's why I feel so comfortable trading back, because I think maybe it's like 1 notch difference. Right. But what I like about Asante Samuel, he's versatile. Right. You can do so many different things with him, and that's what you want. You don't want just somebody who's just staying put. You got somebody here, basically you can move around, do what you need to do, and you get the best out of him. That's why I don't mind trading him back. So Farley is the best corner in this draft by far, and I think he's a notch above Surtain and Horn if he didn't have the back issues, in my opinion. So when it comes to those 2, I don't think they really separate much from Asante. I really don't.
I got you. Bryan Abernethy with a lot of positives and negatives about Barimore. What are your guys' thoughts? J Tuck, Christian Barimore, defensive tackle from Bama.
Yeah, I saw something on Twitter a second ago about reports being that Barimore is uncoachable and had hard issues coaching. Now I'm not sure how much I want to buy into that, y'all, because like I said, we are 4 days away from draft, so you don't hear everything. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't buy too much into it. I believe Barimore is a coachable player. I mean, he played at Alabama. You got to be coachable in Alabama, or it's just not going to work for you. So I like Barimore. I think the hardest part for me for Barimore personally was grading him at a top 10 talent, which he clearly isn't, not only based on position. I just think his impact in the game isn't top 10 worthy. Now, if he was able to slide maybe into that late first round, like Spin was saying, then
Yeah.
I would consider Barimore a lot higher, and he'd be a lot higher on my board. I think right now I kind of got him kind of in the middle of the road just because of impact. You know what I'm saying? I think there's other guys defensively that gets us a little bit more upside as far as impact. But as far as, his negatives and positives, I mean, for the most part, he's high in motor. He can do it all. He can, rush from the interior. He can get in the backfield. But he's also playing on Alabama. So sometimes you got to take that into consideration as well, because you got so many other pieces and dynamics. You're really getting one-on-one, focus when you're playing in Alabama versus in Dallas. You might be getting double teams. So how can you really handle that? So, I'm not out on Barimore. I'm just out on him at 10. But if he was to slide, I would possibly consider him. But I just don't think the Dallas Cowboys priority list is defensive tackle is high on their priority. I know that you said Nick's linebacker. I think it's actually the inverse. I don't think the Cowboys are going to address defensive tackle with their first 3 picks. I just don't see it at this point.
Swoony?
Well, here's the thing. The NFL draft is dirty. It's a dirty game. A lot of information does come out. Yeah. A lot of information can be so small, they'll make it so big because they want the players to drop. That's the name of the game. Larry Tunsil, remember him?
Yeah,
the day of the draft, they post a picture of him smoking and whatever. That's it. Again, a GM with a short leash would not want to draft that player. That means that player will fall into somebody's lap who does want him. Mm-hmm. And listen, he plays for the best coach in college football, Nick Saban. Right. I highly doubt that he's not coachable. If Nick Saban came out and said that he's not coachable, then he's going to definitely fall. But I doubt that happens. I just think these are the things that come out at the last minute for these players to fall into the right hands. And we've seen that. A perfect example, Mr. Trubisky. He was so much hyped up for the draft while Pat Mahomes was kept quiet. And you see with the Bears, they gave in the whole house just to move up a couple of spots to get him. The minute the 10th pick overall came, what happened? 7 teams trying to trade up and get Pat Mahomes, the quiet man. That's the name of the game. The draft is very dirty with information.
Yeah. Watching Barimore's tape, and I called a couple of my guys that are heavy SEC guys and they're heavy Bama Fat guys as well. And man, I just couldn't get a read on it. I'm like, man, there's games where he looks like he's a world beater. And then, I look at the Ole Miss tape, and it's like, man, this guy got washed. Which, I mean, Bama gave up a ton of yards and stuff. I mean, that whole defense took a whipping against Ole Miss a little bit. But just watching the interior and some of the effort stuff, I was like, man, this guy doesn't look like he belongs in the first 2 rounds.
Right.
And I heard young is what I hear about him, growing into the position a little bit. Things and traits where he's not to say that he's a project, but he's not a game changer, if you will. Day one. So for me, I have him late first, early second round grade just because of the potential that is there on him. Definitely not a 10 guy for me. To me, not even if we were to trade back to 20, I wouldn't be thinking about Barimore at 20 even personally.
I don't think he's as complete as Quinn Williams coming out.
I don't know. No way, shape, or form. Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with a lot of these defensive tackles. There's too much variables on the trajectory because up and down. Like even my guy Marvin Wilson is like, some games you think he's the top 10 worthy pick, and some games you think he's a 4th round pick. And so it's just like finding that consistency with a lot of these guys is the hard part, man.
I like it. Hey, Kevin Feige with some breaking news. Kyle Pitts likes Nickelback. He's got to slide the 10 now because he likes Nickelback. I like it by any means necessary. For Pitts to get to 10 by any means necessary.
Find them Kyle Pitts tweets, y'all, man. We got 4 days. We got 4 days to find a Snapchat or something.
Something, right? And of course, and even Stephen A was on the radio, right, this weekend or this past week and said that, they getting ready for the draft. They do a ton of mock drafts. And there's been several scenarios where they've seen Kyle Pitts fall to them and whatnot. Yeah. So, not only are y'all doing these mock drafts, the Cowboy brass is out here doing. I wonder what site. I'd like to know what site they're using though.
Right, PFF, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because they're subbing now right to PFF,
right? Yeah.
Right.
That's where Michael Parsons getting all his analytics from is PFF now.
Right. So they use that PFF draft board, see what's good, see how it's panning out.
It would be a fly on the wall, man, if that happens, though.
Bro, I'm telling you.
If he falls and Stephen Jones reaches for that card, I'm going to cut his damn hands off. No, man.
Listen, the NFL will be put on notice on Thursday night. If Kyle Pitts falls to the Cowboys at 10, Listen, they really said on paper the Cowboys got the best offense in the NFL, unstoppable. And if we get Kyle Pitts in the first round, and we end the night, and you got guys like say maybe a Saftey Samuel Jr. Now people he should be taken, but if he's still there or Trayvon Moe, I think they're gonna
maybe a move up there in the second. Yeah. I think it's going to go something like if a tight end it Pitts is there. I think it's like Pitts. Then I think it's quarterback, safety, D line. I think that's the first 4 picks wherever they fall.
Let me ask y'all this: if the Cowboys do get Pitts at 10, and they circle back around, let's toss in Trayvon Moore, is that better than what we did last year in the first 2?
First, you had Lamb and Diggs. You had Lamb and Diggs last year.
Right.
17 and 50. Right. 17 and what? 17 and 52, right?
Right.
And then you'd have to go Pitts and I guess Morrig, right? And Morrig you about to come back up for Mo. It's pretty on par to me. I think
that's a good question.
I think it's definitely pretty solid. I know we talk about Washington a lot, and we do think that he's going to. I'll say for me, I'll speak for me. I do think he's going to be the best free safety in the draft in Washington. Darius Washington. But Mo brings a lot to the table, and we need bodies back there. So yeah, I mean, it's very comparable to what we did last year, right? Just instead of the wide receiver corner, it was the tight end and the safety, right? You just kind of shifted it. It mirrors each other in a lot of ways there, Tuck.
Yeah. So. Man,
Church said, boy, too soft. It's too soft.
I don't know. I don't see him as soft. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like Trayvon Moore, but another guy, shouts out to the professor. Oh man, I've been watching him, lately, and I was making
the boy Holland.
Yeah, Holland. And so it's like, I think that the contrast with Holland is that some people are looking at him as a corner, some looking at safety. He's a lot more attractive at corner. I'm not corner at free safety than he is at corner. But man, the kid is a baller, man. It's like, kind of like, segue to Budda's question, but I like Holland, man. I think what he's able to do, he can also come down and play a little slot corner if need be, man. But he's more attracted to me at the safety position, so he could possibly be in play at 44. I know there's kind of questions around him and the Cowboys connection, so we'll see. Now he was an opt-out guy, and my opt-out rule kind of applies to everyone, but a few people. But I would be open to bringing Holland in. So
yeah, and I had Holland number 25 on my top 25 board for the Cowboys as well. And I just I don't know about the connection that the Cowboys are going to have with him. So we just haven't heard a whole lot. But I definitely like Holland as a free safety opportunity. And again, that's another one of those guys where I don't think you got to reach for him in the second round, right? And you can address. I really feel. I said this a few weeks ago. A third round feels like where they're going to really go after the safety. To me, that's kind of how I feel. Unless something just falls in their lap at 44, I've always kind of circled 75 for that safety. And of course, in 4 days we'll find out if it will be that safety at 75.
Watch him do something crazy. But yeah, I would agree. I would think if they don't get a Morrig in the second round or trade up for a Morrig, they'll probably wait and get a guy in the third round. Now it really just depends on. Who would that guy be? Because like I said, we kind of been going off of PFF, and they probably have too, these mock drafts. Yeah. We know when people are picking, what I'm saying, independently using their own thought process, things go wacky. So you were thinking, oh man, we can possibly get, Darius Washington in the late third, what I'm saying? And then some random team might say, I like this kid. Boom, he goes off the board the second round. You know what I'm saying? So and can spiral and throw everything off. And so expect to see a lot of that on Thursday. Because like I said, even with the way things happen, you kind of had a college football season. It wasn't really a full season, so you really get to scout a lot of these guys. So a lot of it is going to be just reaching kind of hopes, and that's why I kind of said for Caleb Farley, there might be a team to say, you know what, he's talented, F it, just bring him in, we'll figure it out as we go. And all of a sudden, Farley goes 15, and it spirals your cornerback. So,
Spooning question from Budda right here: Marvin Lewis or Mr. McNeil?
Oh, McNeil.
McNeil.
Yeah, I like McNeil, but I doubt they're gonna. Like I said with Texas earlier, I doubt they're gonna touch defensive tackle early. I think it's gonna be kind of late. I think they're gonna address, of course, the BPA in the first round, corner, safety, linebacker. Again, linebacker is definitely your hole. they have a lot of questions to answer. They need to be answered in May with LVE's 5th-year option. They're gonna pick it up. And the rest of the guys on the roster 1-year deal. The only one who's pretty much on contract is Jalen Smith, and we don't know if they really want him for this defense going forward. So, I really don't see DT being taken early.
Yeah. So for you, Wilson or McNeil?
Yeah, well, it kind of hurts me to say this, but I have McNeil ranked higher than I have Wilson, slightly. But like I said, for me, I guess it's for me, I'm kind of biased because I watched Marvin Wilson. Like I said, he has the opportunity to be the best defensive tackle in this class, but he also has the opportunity to be a huge bust. And so I just don't know where I can gauge Marv. Also, you got the knee injuries, different things like that. Plus, I don't know how he fits in the scheme of things when it comes to Dallas Cowboys. I think he's going to be a traditional 3-tech at the NFL level. So I think he would be one of those guys that kind of gets tossed in the rotation with Neville Gallimore and also Tristan Hill. And I don't think he's going to be a clear out, standout guy. So I don't think the Cowboys would take Marvin Wilson, to be honest with you guys, unless something happens and he just slides and just sitting in your lap. But I think McNeil gives you that 1-tech opportunity, plus disruption in the backfield, run stopping. He can do a little bit more than currently what Marv provides. And there's no knock to Marv. I just got Alan McNeil ranked a little bit higher slightly than Marvin Wilson. But I would love to have Marvin Wilson because great guy, great vocal leader, senior leader. He kind of held things on his shoulder in Florida State as wacky and bad as we were. But I feel like for what Dallas needs, I feel like Marvin Wilson isn't that answer.
Yeah, the knee definitely worries me for sure. For me, between the two, I would definitely take McNeil. I think McNeil can give me a little bit more at the 1-tech. And don't get me wrong, I think McNeil's a tweener as well. But I think McNeil can give me more at the 1-tech than what Marvin is going to be able to give us. And the 1-tech is definitely something, we want to address a little bit more. I think we're kind of set over here. Not that they won't add anything to the 3-tech, but I think they feel pretty good with Hill and with Gallimore sitting over there. And of course, the ultimate question, which is no ifs, ands, or buts here that Budda dropped on us was, is it Cowboys War Room or Jerry Yacht? Come on, man. We got to get Jerry back on the yacht for the draft, right? It's got to be Jerry on the yacht for the draft, right?
For this one.
I know it. But that Jerry draft on the yacht, though, was something. We need to get him back over there.
Jerry might be now. Jerry needs to be around everyone because we can't let Stephen Jones have in full control in that war room. So we need Jerry close by, man, because I don't trust Stephen. But that yacht just kind of set the tone for the draft. It was just just all white, kind of just chilling. Just casually pick CeeDee Lamb,
Yeah, we'll see. Diggs, sure. Gallimore 3. Let's trade up in the 4th and get Tyler Badaz, just making some things happen here and there.
To lock Stephen Jones in the broom closet for the draft, man. That's all we
Right. No offense about it. Hey, real quick though, man, for everybody, if you don't have any plans, you're not going out anywhere, man, and you're going to be doing something for the draft. Man, come kick it with your people, man.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, April 29th, y'all know what it is, man. The draft's going down. We're all locked into it, man. Make sure you come over here with CFO Gang, Star Gang, man. Those 3 days, we're going to have a lot of fun, man. If you missed the stream last year, it was nuts. We're adding even more chaos to it this year. We're picking even higher. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, that was for people asking, like, was that me screaming on that "Let's effing go"? Like, that was me. That was me last year about the CD. So I've been working on my draft setups. I got all the chords and stuff out the way. I got tripped over a few chords. Broke the stream last year. So it's like, all right. So I can't wait.
Man, no ifs. Yeah, man, it's gonna. Man, Owen also talking about the yacht or the war room. Can we get Jerry in a helicopter this time? I don't know, man. We gotta see what Jerry's going to be doing, right?
But
see.
I mean, it is in Cleveland, so Jerry might just choose the yacht, man. He might just like, I ain't going to Cleveland.
Yeah, man. Let me just give him this shot, man. I mean, I'm loaded up on this Johnny Walker and Steven ain't around. I can do what I got.
Yeah.
I ain't going to 7-Eleven over here no more.
We need,
You know what I mean?
3 bottles for Jerry, man. I'm buying
All right.
all the Boone's Farm.
All of it, man. But now, with that being said, though, all right, because I saw somebody throw it up there earlier. Look, and I don't think so, guys. And we're going to talk about it here for a minute. Donnie said Michael Parsons at 10 with a question mark. So let's circle back around. I personally, if you haven't heard this from me, I personally do not think they're going to add a linebacker to this group high. I think that they wanted to give Jalen Smith every opportunity to be back to 2018. I think they're going to let LVE play out. They added the guy there, Neil. They'll add a body. I'm not saying that they're not going to add a body. I just don't see it with the first 3 picks of this draft, unless something phenomenal was to happen. And just there's a guy there at 44, and they're like, oh, well, he should not be here, and kind of forces their hand. But outside of that, I don't think they're going to go linebacker at the first 3 picks. Now, I'm not saying they don't need a linebacker, guys. Right. But with that being said, Michael Parsons at 10, how would that make you feel? We'll start with, let's go, J-Talk.
Yeah, I mean, and if you guys saw the video, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would understand it. I'll say that. From the standpoint is that linebacker depth has been a struggle in Dallas for quite some time. And I just said the second ago on Big Game James' show, is like, think about it from this perspective, right? The only player that you really have to scheme for in the Dallas Cowboys defense is DeMarcus Lawrence. So I feel like if you were to add a Micah Parsons, being able to move him around, whether it's the Sam, whether it's the Will, whether you're blitzing him off the edge, like you have to kind of accommodate for that. So I don't think the Cowboys would draft Micah Parsons unless this scenario happens, right? And someone just brought this up, and I was like, damn, it's kind of, pouring salt in the wound. But let's say, for instance, Sewell is gone, right? Mm-hmm. Slater's gone. And we're hearing conversations about possibly, maybe the Eagles wanting to trade up for Surtain, or maybe the Panthers are wanting Surtain. He's gone. Pitts is gone, and Horn is also gone. What do you consider at that point? And so I think if that kind of happens, I don't think the Cowboys would consider taking a wide receiver like, us probably personally would do. I think Micah Parsons would come into play if that's a scenario where everything just kind of goes crazy and it hits the fan. I think Micah Parsons would be the consideration over going a wide receiver or, trading back. So I think the Cowboys would consider it. Do I think it's going to happen? Highly unlikely, but I would understand it. So
Spoony, Micah Parsons at 10.
Moving the chains.
Oh no, Spoon, you're muted. My bad, Spoon. Hang on. Go ahead, Spoon.
Thank you. Sorry. No, I wouldn't be upset with that at all. I'll just be more concerned of the off the field situation, because we all know when you wear the Star helmet, the media would dig into some old stuff, even going back to kindergarten, and say you took somebody's snack. That's how bad it is. And Michael Parsons does not have a solid off the field situation. That's my only concern. Other than that, again, within that linebacker, as far as the future question that needs to be answered starting in May with LVE, I think Parsons he's a freak. I think he's a freak, even though he's only played the position for 2 years. But the one thing I love about him is that he tackles in space. He reads right. And that's the issue that we have with Jalen. Now, as far as covering and stuff like that, he's gonna grow, but I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I like Tuck said, I will understand it. I'm just more concerned with the off the field situation. Regardless, he's the best defensive player in this draft.
Right. And he's the most game wrecker defensively that you could add to this defense.
Right.
I feel like as much as we love Horn and Surtain, they're not game wreckers. I feel like Micah Parsons could be a game wrecker. We've been wanting turnovers. We want sacks. We want pressure, because what could actually help this kind of mid-tier secondary is if you were to add a game record that can cause havoc in the backfield and put pressure on the quarterback. And so, I think Parsons is that guy. But
you can go get my number 1 rated linebacker, the Joker, who can cover and do some things. And
but here's what happens: if you trade back and you miss, then what? Like,
you're right.
Okay,
I mean, and that would be my point with moving the chains. At what point do you trade or reach for Joker? I think if you trade it back from 10 to 15, you'd have to take the Joker right there. I don't think Joker's going to get outside the top 20. I'm starting to feel that way now. But things can change. Things can change.
No, BJ, you're on point. He's getting hyped up a lot. Let me tell you something. BJ, it's like you said a couple of months ago, starting when we talked about JOK. He is the first of his kind what the NFL wants on defense.
Right.
A guy like Bill Belichick would love JOK.
Right.
Would love JOK for what they could get out of him. When you get for a linebacker his position, when you're able to cover the way he covers and do other things, and he has gained some weight. People are like, well, he was like 210 pounds, 215. Well, Darius Leonard from the Colts was 215 pounds.
Right.
He's an all-pro linebacker.
Right.
Every play will get bigger. They're not gonna stay the same size. He's gonna grow, but not only will he grow, he's gonna not only physically, mentally, and even potential will also come out. So I'm with you. If you could go backwards at 15, get JOK, I'm not mad at all with that.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes before Parsons, to be honest with you, Thursday.
I think there's some, I think there's certain teams that do have him over him for sure. Absolutely, just because of off the field stuff. So I mean that wouldn't surprise. Yeah, for sure, Spoon. We haven't talked about the end a lot on this show, and that's because we don't want to bring up no jinxes at 10 and jinx ourselves into that. But I do think we need to talk about it at least in the standpoint of starting with the second round. Is there a D end in the second round at 44 that you're like, okay, maybe quarterback's a little washed and you feel like you can wait, or is there a D end that will be there and say, hey, he's the best one on my board, I need to take this guy here? Is there a D end that you would consider at 44, regardless of what you do at 10, guys?
I mean, no, personally, because I feel like we already have enough in-house as far as edge rushers are concerned, and we need to figure out how we're going to work some of these guys, whether it's a Bradley and I, or some others. Now, if we're going to just, for the conversation's sake, I think maybe Peyton Turner out of Houston could be one of those guys that could possibly be available in the second round. You want to consider that? Let's see on my board. I mean, I don't think the names that's kind of forbidden on this channel. I'm not going to mention those, but I don't think they're going to be second round. I think someone's going to take a flight on those two guys. I think Boogie Basham out as mentioned as well. Also, so there's a few names, but I just don't see the reason why the Cowboys would want to bring in another edge rush at this point after what they just did in free agency and what they already have in the house. I feel like if there's any position that we have enough kind of defensively, it's the edge rushing position. So I don't think they're going to address it. I would be pissed off if they address, the edge rush position versus the interior defensive tackle position first. So
okay, Spony, D end at 44.
Listen, Tuck said my guy, Peyton Turner, Houston.
Yeah. His
wingspan is ridiculous. It's hard to block. The one thing that we noticed at the free seat was that when they were signing the interior, they were signing guys who are much taller, longer. That's good for reach. That's good for putting your hands up. That is definitely an advantage. And Peyton Turner, he's looked unblockable, very unblockable. 6'5", 270, 275. Wingspan is ridiculous. Listen, and at the end of the day, you look at it, DeMarcus Lawrence is not getting younger, right? We don't know Randy Gregory's future. Bradley and I hasn't played yet. We don't know how he's going to look with his hands in the dirt. We know in college he played outside linebacker as a pass rusher, so I wouldn't be mad at it at all. You got to think about the future going forward, especially with these contracts and the age that's about to hit the DN spot. I wouldn't be mad if they got him in the second round.
Yeah. I mean, I like Phillips as well from Miami. I'm kind of on the same thought process with you guys. I just don't think there's not going to be a guy available at a different position that's going to be ranked higher than that defensive end that's going to be there at 44. I would be surprised. But, I mean, one thing's for certain, and every defensive coordinator will tell you, you can never have enough pass rushers. So, something maybe at the end, especially if we go corner at 10, then maybe the end becomes more of a reality at 44. But I don't see it either at 44 personally.
Before you pivot off of that, do you guys think that Bradley and I might kind of be the odd man out since we're kind of shifting back to the 4-3 versus the 3-4? Because I feel like he was more of a 3-4 guy, versus.
I mean, they do have the Leo position where the guy kind of stands up at the line, and you kind of look at some of the guys they've had up there do that. Whether it was Clowney, whether it was the gentleman they picked up from obviously Alden Smith, whatever's going on there. But I was trying to get the guy they picked up back in the day from the Diners that came up there and played some, and he was kind of standing up as well. So they've had guys come through there and kind of have a position to blitz, for that Leo position. Now, how much is it used, is kind of the other thing. So I think it's going to be intriguing. I think the last coaching staff didn't want to give him a chance with his hand in the dirt. Right. And if this coaching staff is going to say, well, let me see what you do with your hand in the dirt. And then we'll kind of go from there.
Right. Yeah.
So
as far as Payne Turner, right? No, the DE spot, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it to address in the second round if need be, because at the end of the day, it's another position where you're going to have to address. You need rotation. You have question marks on guys that are already there. And like what talks about Bradley and I, I'm scared that they'll move on from him. I don't want that.
Not their guy, caught in the wash.
Right.
Now, here's another thing. Jarvis Armstrong, he's a free agent too, right?
No, I think he's on contract. No, he's here.
He's on contract. Yeah.
One more year. So
he's a made man, Doran says.
Yeah. With that being said, Scott wants to know Tutu or Jalen there. Tuck. He says he's a little trolling this guy Tuck real quick. Who you rolling with? You rolling with Ant-Man? You rolling with Waddle?
I'm rolling with Ant-Man, man. I'm running with Tutu Atwell because I ain't got to spend a top 10 pick to get him. I can wait until the 4th or 5th round and still get the same thing that I'm going to get with Jalen Waddle, man. I don't know how many times I can say that to you, Sky, bro. Like, it is what it is, man. A lot of people want to count my guy out, man. And, shouts out to my son's football team. They just won their, first game, beat the undefeated team the other day. But I had a guy, had a kid on the team. He's the smallest on the team, and I showed him film with Tutu Atwell. It's like this is what you can be. This is what you can be. And he caught his first touchdown. And yeah, man, I roll with Tutu Atwell, man. I'm just one of those guys I'm pulling for. And a lot of people are knocking him because of his size, but I feel like once he gets on the field on Sunday, he's going to have impact. And then Scott, don't worry, I'm going to tag you in those highlights.
Bring in the Ant-Man.
Yeah,
Ant-Man. Realistic defensive target 75 or 99, guys.
I got 99.
Yeah, I would say 99.
Yeah, I think that safety 75 unless something happens at 44. And 99 for me. I think around the horn. I definitely think third round, but it could be 75, but I'll lean towards 99, depending on how the board falls, man. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And of course, Mendoza bringing up that Rondell Carter's still here too, the undrafted guy that we lost for a little bit to the Colts. He's back in house as well in the interior. And
my guy Mendoza knows, as much as we've been talking about Asante Samuel Jr., Tutu got that boy with some problems.
Right? Yeah. Big facts.
Right,
yeah.
Like I said, Tutu's one of those guys that had me throwing the remotes on Saturday. Like, what's going on, man? So don't knock the kid.
Hey, and this right here from Budda says, Sean Lee on the team or not, and how Kevin's situation is yet to be addressed. Yeah, it's all about the draft. Right. I think if they get a guy high enough, that's going to be the swan song for Lee. If they don't get a guy high enough, they're going to sign Lee to a one-year deal, and he's going to be the emergency backup here in Dallas, breaking glass in case the glass or break the glass in case of emergency is where that's going to be with Sean Lee. They're going to wait and see after the draft where it's at on his future. Man, with that being said, Wednesday we're doing our final, put our stamp on it mock. Make sure y'all come through. And we'll be doing it live starting at 8 p.m. Central on Wednesday, leading up to the draft show. Like we said, man, by all means, come through the 29th, 30th, and so on. Man, we're going to give away some stuff, have some special guests, man, do a lot of things. It's going to be super duper fun. Guys, before we get out of here, last thoughts before we put our stamp of approval, last mock draft. Last thoughts here.
Hey, I'll just say it's been fun, man. I appreciate everyone who's been tuning into the channels, across the board, whether it's on my channel, on this channel, man. Those late night mock draft conversations.
Yeah.
We're finally here, man. So it's going to be interesting to really see, how the Cowboys are going to really put this thing together. I hope it ain't something too wonky where we're sitting there looking at like, who the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? So
right.
For the most part, we should have it covered. But I think the Cowboys are going to try to be aggressive in this draft because I feel like they back themselves into a corner, especially defensively, where they know they're going to have to hit and make a big splash to actually fix this thing. So, I expect Thursday and, Friday and Saturday to be, impactful. You say, Knicks and Will McClay, we trust.
Yeah, buddy.
Like all of our chips are on Will McClay right now. That's where we're at. So he's our only hope, man, to really figure this thing out. Because if we miss in this draft, bruh, it's just
could get ugly. Spoonie, your last thoughts, sir.
I want to say this. It's Sunday. It's light. This is family day. This is where we watch some movies and eat and relax, right?
Right, just kick back, man.
Come after midnight. The fun begins. Now you know that the time we all know that free agency is the next day. We get the goosebumps. We're sleeping like this with our phones, looking at our phones. You know, we see a come out. Oh, is that breaking news? Oh, I ain't see nothing yet. Between Monday and Wednesday, nothing but rumors, nothing but this and that and the third. Our mindset's gonna change. It's gonna be wild. I'm telling you right now, Wednesday, y'all not sleeping. None of us are gonna be sleeping. We're gonna take naps. You're not sleeping. You're gonna take a nap. And come Thursday, we're gonna be uptight because we all know the first pick in the draft is gonna take 4 minutes, knowing who they know is gonna be. We're gonna be antsy, right? When Miami picks, are they taking Pitts? If Pitts falls to number 7. We're going to go ballistic. We're going to go crazy. And you know what's going to happen too? Somebody here, Mendoza last year, see, his TV is faster than ours. So he's not
what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about.
You know what I'm saying? So what's going to happen is
we'll match it up. I have a little rewind. We'll match it up. And we'll make sure we're coordinated.
Mendoza loves to throw little hints. You know, the little hints in the panel. So who's looking at eyeballs or the emojis? Like, what, Mendoza? What's going on? It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't wait because this is the start of pretty much for next season.
Yeah, big facts, man. Man, as always, man, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Like we said, the final one that we're going to stamp it down Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central. Slide through for the final mock draft. We put our stamp for approval. These pencils are done. We are in pen on our boards. No more tape needs to be watched until sometime, later on in the year. We're finally at that end moment. So make sure y'all are here, whether it's Stargate Podcast on YouTube or Stargate Group. The live will be there for the draft, for the mock draft. So make sure y'all tuned in for that. With that being said, man, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, J-Tuck.
Yeah, man. Of course, you guys can find me on Twitter at JTuck151, and then also on my YouTube channel, Cowboys Fans Only. And then also cowboysfansonly.com. We are back. So I appreciate all the support, man. My guy said, what's up, bro? And draft day is upon us, man. So I can't wait. It's going to be interesting. But like Nick said, pencils down. I turned in my exam last night, so I'm done. So I'll probably drop a video here giving y'all my top 50. Y'all probably going to be pissed off about a few of my picks, but it is what it is. If I said it, then I meant it. And what? I'm standing on it. And then we're done. Draft day.
That's it.
A. Wiggins.
Spoonie. Tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, you can find me at Spoonie881 on Twitter and right here home at Stargame Podcast.
Yeah, man. The only place that you need to find me besides the Stargame with my people, your _guy_Nix, NIX on Twitter. May come follow me and everything. Then we'll see y'all Wednesday night. Go time, as they say.
Yeah.
Go time.